Hey y'all, I hope you're well. Today I wanted to cook two different things for you from items that we already started growing here on our homestead. So it's the middle of May and we do have some things that we have growing. So one of those items is kale. There's a little mesclun mix in here as well, but mainly kale. I just picked it from the garden. Purple basil. I have regular basil too, but I love purple basil just because it adds some color. So I have a few leaves of purple basil and of course farm fresh eggs. And then one of the recipes we're doing, I'm going to use some stuff from my freezer. So I have kale from last year. It was from last May and it's still beautiful and it'll work out great. And also some hot peppers from September. So I have a mixture. I cut them up, put them in a freezer bag, and they work out great. So let's get started. So maybe you're like me, I hate doing dishes. Some people love them. My mom loves to do dishes, but not me. So I like to make the most amount of items as I can and with the least amount of dishes. So today I want to show you how to make a baked egg bites that you can make one day and literally eat off of them for the whole week. So the first thing I have here is, this is a Pampered Chef brownie pan, but you can use any type of muffin tin or whatever you have, but I like these. These work perfect for my egg bites. So I'm just taking some cooking spray and then I'm going to go ahead and spray this down. And then the next step is to make the egg mixture. So just a mixing bowl here, and then here are some of our farm fresh eggs. Now I get the second hand eggs, so I sell the eggs that are nice looking and beautiful, and the ones that have cracks, they are only going to be used a couple days later, so they are perfectly fine for our use. Oh, I gotta put this in the compost. I'll show you, I have a compost bowl here. So I like to crack my eggs instead of putting them in the garbage can. They are great, filled with calcium. So I'm gonna get these cracked in here. And I don't know if you folks have had farm fresh eggs, but there is a big difference from farm fresh eggs in comparison to store-bought eggs. First off, even if the store-bought egg says it is cage-free, that literally could be, yes, they're out of their cage, but they're in a huge chicken house, and there's, thousands of chickens right beside them, and they may have a window cracked open. That is the difference. There's no grass or dirt to peck in and forage and get greens. There's none of that. It is literally chickens in a huge building with maybe a window open. That is what they call cage-free eggs that you get at the grocery store. So why I will never go back to grocery store eggs is because our chickens have the best life. They get to roam around, they get to eat the bugs, the insects, they get to be what God wanted them to be made for, I should say, and that's chickens. They get to be happy and be themselves. So that's one reason. Also, I think they're just so much more nutritious. The egg yolks, which I can show you here, are a nice orange color. Oh, I dropped one. Okay, let's try this again. Here are the eggs. I have 9 eggs ready in this bowl. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some ricotta cheese. So I like the texture of it, and it just adds a nice dimension to the baked eggs. So let's see, this is 15 ounces, so I have about a half, so what is that, 7.5 ounces of ricotta cheese. Now, usually I eat on the healthier side, which should not be ricotta. Ricotta is very fatty. Cottage cheese, and if you just don't do cheese, you can do, you could just do like almond milk and the eggs and then flour to thicken it up. So you can do all kinds of stuff. I am going to add just a little tiny bit of milk to this as well, like so. And let's see, salt. I don't know, like 2 pinches. 2 pinches of salt is good. And some fresh cracked pepper. And then I'm going to go grab some flour. We're going to add a pinch of flour. Okay, well, maybe more than a pinch of flour, but this much flour, just a little bit in here. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and whisk this all together. So this is going to be my egg base. And next, we're going to cut some veggies up to go inside these little tins. So this is where you can be you. You can add essentially anything you want to these little egg bites. I love to add tomatoes, except for they get a little watery inside sometimes, but that's later on in the season. So for now, I'm just using up what I had left from last year. So these hot peppers, which I don't want to add too many because these are very spicy, but they will open up my sinuses, especially right now during allergy season. And then this is kale from last season, and kale freezes extremely well. So I just have it cut up, and I'm just gonna sprinkle some in each egg dish. And usually, which I haven't added it, maybe I'll go grab some. I think I'm gonna add some onions to these yet too. So make them nice and healthy in the morning and go from there. Now, you can add pre-cooked meats if you want. So if you wanted to add bacon or turkey sausage or whatever, you can add that as well. So yeah, you can be creative, and then kind of whatever you have around the house, or maybe you have your own garden, you can just, yeah, add whatever you want in. Keep in mind veggies though that are that have a lot of water, like tomatoes. You may even want to saute them just a little bit before you add them. Let me go grab those onions. What would really be great in these egg dishes, and it really screams spring, is spring onions. I ran out of spring onions, unfortunately, yesterday. So I'm getting more tomorrow. So if I had them on me, I would not use store-bought onions. I would just go all out fresh from either my friend's garden or my garden and use the scallions. But since I don't have them, I'm getting some more scallions tomorrow from my friend. Just a little bit of onions gonna do. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of this onions in here yet. Okay, like so. Give this one more good whisk here. This is kind of, let me move my camera so I don't, there we go. That's kind of what you're looking for right there. Okay. And then I'm simply just gonna pour a little bit into each one. Just like this. Now I have my oven set right now, and I believe it's at 350. And it doesn't take too long to bake eggs. You're looking at maybe 20 minutes, I take it. I am so bad with giving total and what's the word I'm looking for? Accurate instructions, because I've been doing this for a pretty long time. So I just kind of have a feel for, oh, you know, it needs to go longer or whatever. But my rule of thumb is when I can start smelling something, and it's really true, when I can start smelling something in the kitchen, it's usually when it's ready to be done. Case in point, like when I make chocolate chip cookies, which I haven't in a while because they're not very healthy for me and I end up eating way too many. I can smell them. I'm like, yep, they're done. And sure enough, they're pretty much there. Now, do I burn some things sometimes? Of course I do. I'm not perfect by any means, but that's my old wives' tale indicator. Okay, and then last but not least, I'm gonna just top this with a little bit of purple basil. So, and I just picked this from our garden just an hour ago. So I'm gonna take all the basil together like this. I'm gonna show you. I'm just gonna put it all together like this and kind of roll it. And now we're gonna use a fancy knife move called a chiffonade. So all you're doing is you're just cutting it in a line. So it's just gonna make nice little strips like so. Just nice uniform strips, and then I'm just gonna top it right on top. I'm not adding extra cheese to this because I had the ricotta cheese. And then sometimes in the morning, if I do want additional cheese, I'll just take the two little squares, egg squares, and put them on a plate, microwave them for about 20 to 30 seconds, and then I'll add another piece of cheese. I found that if I add cheese right now, it can kind of get gross after a few days, like kind of not slimy, but just the texture changes. So I just opt to use either the cottage cheese or the ricotta inside the eggs, and then you can top with melted cheese when you microwave it. So that's it. Let's get it in the oven. So up next, while the eggs are in the oven baking, we are going to make a just a kale salad with a very, very simple vinaigrette. So the kale, obviously all you're doing is washing, drying off, whatnot. So this part is all set to go. So we are going to make a vinaigrette. And besides ranch and maybe blue cheese if my kids really want it, and honey mustard, we make all of our other salad dressings in our house because they're so simple to make. And once you know the technique, you can save a lot of money, and it's just easy to whip up. And you don't have just another bottle sitting in your fridge taking up space. That too. Okay, so for the most part, let's see, salad dressing comparisons, I believe, are 3-to-1 ratio. So 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. Now, once again, I'm sorry, I do not measure, but if you really needed to measure, 3-to-1. So if you did, 3 tablespoons of vinegar, you're doing 9 tablespoons of EVOO. So first thing I'm gonna do is just put some vinegar in here. And I don't like a lot of oil, so that's the nice thing when you make your own. When you buy from the grocery store, it's already pre-mixed and you're getting piles of oil and water. You're not getting the good stuff like the vinegar, which is super healthy for you. Okay, I want this to bind. As you know, vinegar and oil do not mix. So I want this salad, I don't want it to separate when I'm eating the lettuce. So you need to add a binder. A binder would be mayonnaise, mustard, whatnot. We're gonna use Dijon mustard today. Sometimes I buy the Chick-fil-A sauce in the containers at the grocery store, and I use that in my salad dressing. It is super good. I am super addicted to that Chick-fil-A sauce. Okay, so I'm just incorporating that in. Next thing I'm adding from our homestead, what is some honey. So this is some of our honey from last season. I'm almost out. I think I have maybe 1 jar left, and then it's over. I'm so ready for our bees to keep producing and have more later this summer. So anyways, just a tablespoon of that. I don't want to add too much because then it's going to get too sweet. My husband doesn't like a lot of sweet stuff, so I don't want to make it too sweet for him, and my kids will be like, Mom, did you put honey in there? Yeah, just a little bit will go a long way. So just a spoonful of honey. And then you're going to season it, so I'm going to add some more cracked black pepper and some more salt. And then next we're going to add the vinegar. However, before I move on to, well, I'll pour the vinegar and I'll talk to you. So another thing you can do with this, which is super nice. Oh, and by the way, you're adding the vinegar slowly because you want it to pull together and emulsify. You don't want it to get to the point where you just dump a whole pile of oil in and then it's going to separate. So I'm doing it slowly so that it binds together. And I don't know if I can show you. Last time I had the oopsie with the eggs, so I'm just going to keep whisking. But anywho, at this point, like the other week for Mother's Day, my kids made this simple vinaigrette, which I showed them how to do it, and they added strawberries, and that was super good. So when the summer season's in, you want strawberry balsamic vinaigrette, it's so easy. You are literally taking not even a handful of strawberries, and you can take this whole vinaigrette mix and strawberries and put it in a blender. I have a hand immersion stick blender. I use that to make these, but seriously, you blend it all up and you have this fresh, ridiculously tasty salad dressing to top your salads or your other veggies for the summer. Say you're not a sweet person, you could omit the honey. You don't have to add that. You could add some red pepper flakes, maybe some cumin. You can mix it up. Our oregano plant is not quite there yet, but I could have totally added some oregano, some fresh chopped oregano, which would be super yummy. So I'm going to show you a picture of this now. As you see, it's nice and thick. And that's what I'm looking for, just like that. So store quality, but better, because you can make it yourself. You can make as much as you want, and you're not wasting. Okay, so now it's time to plate. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the kale, put it in my bowl as such, and I'm just going to drizzle this right over top. That consistency is perfect. Now at this point is where you'd maybe want to add some cucumbers, croutons if you want to. If you want the carbs, different veggies whenever they come in season. But for right now, oh, spring onions. My friend has spring onions. I told you about already. They would be super good in here. But anyways, for now, this is what my garden is giving me, and this is what I'm going to enjoy. So let's try this salad. Takes a while to chew, kale. Goodness. It's really good. I have a little bit of a hint of the honey, a little bit of hint of the mustard, but it still screams out balsamic to me, which is one of my favorite oils. Vinegars, not oil, vinegar. And of course I do use the extra virgin olive oil from Greece, which is awesome. It's a standalone ingredient itself. But yeah, so I hope you try this salad. It is super good and super easy to make. So let's go over and see how the egg quiche mini bites are doing. They're getting there. Just a few more minutes. You see some of them are still a little loose. Okay, here they are. They're all done. So what I'll do is I will pull these out. You see they come right out nice and easy. I'll just take a knife and pull these out. I'll put them in a container, put them in the fridge, and then tomorrow morning I'll pull 2 of these, put them in the microwave. Maybe I'll add a little more cheese, get myself a nice piece of toast, and it's a great breakfast. Super easy and no dishes minus my plate tomorrow morning. Well, I can't help not show you. So anywho, here I just pulled one apart there. So super duper healthy with all the kale and the peppers in there. Just the ricotta that kind of screws up the calorie count. But anyways, I hope I've inspired you to just try something new in the kitchen this week. I know I get into a routine of making the same old, and life gets boring that way. So I hope these 2 recipes were something new for you to try. And yeah, you folks have a great week. Take care. Yummy kale.